Hello, it's me again. So, it's been a while. I might have pulled a Now You See Me and disappeared for like 5 months, but I'm back now and I miss this and I missed you. Did you miss me? Don't answer that. If you're new here, my name is Pauline and welcome to my channel. Spills. This video feels spontaneous because I never really post without a plan or without thinking about it for the longest time. However, I missed uploading and talking to some of you in the comments, so I decided why not? It doesn't have to be perfect. I feel like I started to care a little bit too much about making it perfect, and in turn, that made me feel scared to upload. Like it was hard for me to bring myself to share anything because I kind of forced myself to have this mentality that it had to be perfect, I had to do it right, otherwise it wasn't even worth it. And like, we're throwing that mentality out the window and we're leaving it in 2025 because we're not going to carry that kind of mindset with us in 2026. Absolutely not. I started this channel because I have a deep desire to share my interests with people who have similar interests as I do. So I'm going to try to not be my worst enemy and kind of change my approach to how I do all of this. Just laid back, chill, talking to you guys about the things that I want to talk to you about that interests me. I feel like I'm more true to myself and authentic when I put out what I feel like as it comes. It's more fun that way anyway. So yeah, that's that on updates. But let's talk about something a little bit lighter. Let's talk about the reason why I'm here with you today. I got a burst of inspiration because it started to snow outside. It's been snowing where I live for the past 2 weeks. Well, it snowed last week and the week before that, but it hasn't snowed this week. Anyway, the inspiration came to me when it was snowing and just how pretty and white and still everything was. Like, it just feels like everything went quiet when it started snowing. And it gave me an idea to make this video. Winter is here, winter is undeniably here, and I want to share my winter watch list with you all because this is what I like to do. This is what I like to do when it gets cold outside. I like to bundle up in a cozy little blanket with my cup of tea and watch movies. I'm also quite nosy about what other people like to watch in the winter, honestly, at any time of the year. So feel free to chime in about what you've been watching this winter season. Let's get started. Please note I didn't say Christmas movies because even though there's a few movies on this list that are Christmas movies, some of them aren't. Some of them are quite sad actually, now that I'm thinking about it. In my brain, a movie classifies as a winter movie if it has a cold and sort of like desolate and isolated feeling and atmosphere, maybe even lonely. But there's a hidden warmth kind of in the movie. Like they're either bundled up or there's a fireplace and the outside is cold, or it's their mental state that's kind of cold and wintry and desolate and it reflects on their environment. Things like that. That may not make any sense to you right now, but it will very, very shortly. Enough with the exposition. Let's get on with it. At number 10, we have Little Forest. Little Forest isn't number 10 because it's the worst movie on this list or anything like that. I haven't really ranked, well, this isn't really a ranking per se, it's more like just a list of 10 movies that I really like to watch in the winter, but they will become like more of my favorites as we go down the list. So the thing about Little Forest is that it cycles through all of the seasons as the story progresses. There is actually two versions of this film, a Japanese version, which I believe is the original version, and a Korean version. It's the same story, but told from different cultural perspectives, which influence the details of the film and basically the way that the story unfolds. It's a slow burn, and you think it's one of those movies where nothing really happens. And it kind of is, but by the end of it, you realize that or more like it sort of hits you what the movie is really about. And to put it in the simplest of terms, it's about a young girl trying to understand what the relationship with her mother really was, using all the ways that her mother taught her to live and survive in the world. Because, you know, her mother is not there anymore, so she needs to kind of adapt and learn to live on her own. So she uses all the skills that her mother taught her, but she also has like a kind of love-hate relationship with her. I wasn't very familiar with the Japanese actress before watching this film. She's great in her role. I was more familiar with the Korean actress, which is how I got introduced to this movie in the first place. The role is beautifully played by Kim Tae-ri. She also plays Suki in The Handmaiden. If you've seen The Handmaiden, you and I are friends. You and I can be friends. You and I are like this, okay? We are bosom friends now. And if you watch K-dramas as well, you more than likely recognize her. She's in, goodness, what's the name of that one K-drama? I'm gonna put it on the screen. I'm gonna put it on the screen, but it was really popular on Netflix. I also recognized her from that, but mainly The Handmaiden. She is an amazing actress. But anyway, my final thoughts on Little Forest are that I think that the best experience of this movie comes from watching both. You will gain a deeper understanding of the story that way. And if Little Forest is something that you would be interested in, just try watching both versions. Maybe not in the same sitting because they're actually very long movies, but little by little throughout the season. At number 9 is Tokyo Godfathers. This movie was created by the late Satoshi Kon. May he rest in peace. Compared to the other movies on this list, I actually hadn't watched Tokyo Godfathers. This was my first time watching it. It was the last film, I believe, in Satoshi Kon's discography I had yet to see. Finally, now I can say that I've seen his entire discography. And this is widely known, but I feel like I have to say it. Satoshi Kon is a genius. He is a genius when it comes to psychological animated films. I made a video like maybe a year, 2 years ago. I don't know. I think it was last year. I think it was a year ago. I recommended Paprika, and this isn't any different. This movie is amazing. It's almost like every single movie that I've watched of his feels like a personal passion project. And of course, there's like little things where you'd be like, oh, that could have been done differently. Maybe that could have been elaborated better, but I like it the way that it is. Sometimes I think that it's best for things to show up the way that they are because they needn't be perfect. They don't need to be perfect. And what an artist puts out is also very subjective to the viewer. Once it leaves, even if there's an interpretation to get out of something, once it leaves the hands of the artist, whoever absorbs that art or receives that art is gonna see it differently depending on who they are and what experiences they've had in their life. So I think the same way about movies. That's why I like movies. I'll just ask people what they think about them, or they'll tell me what they think about them, and in turn there's like an exchange and you start to see like people's mindsets when it comes to things. But anyway, I digress. I think Tokyo Godfathers just feels like a unique way to tell this type of specific story. First of all, it takes place on a winter night. I'm not sure whether it takes place on Christmas night. Hang on, let me see. Okay, I just looked it up and it does indeed take place on Christmas night. So check for the Christmas/winter category there. And it follows 3 homeless, eccentric, and unlikely friends in Tokyo who stumble upon something, or rather someone rather unexpected, a baby who's just been discarded there, like, you know, like they're trash. And then they decide to take it upon themselves to help this baby. And they spend the entire Christmas night doing this. So it's like a good deed done on Christmas. You know, it has that merry, like it's warm-hearted. It has that like merry Christmas feeling. I don't know. I'm not like, you know, the vibes. You know the vibes. Anyway, part of this film is definitely the trio of friends, their dynamic, and the shenanigans that they get up to. It does in fact feel cozy, despite how goofy and eccentric the main characters are. They just honestly seem like people I'd like to chill with. Like, I want to have a conversation with them, kind of ask them about their lives, get to know them, kind of. They aren't perfect people, essentially. Some of them are, like, one of them is a drunk, the other one ran away from home, and the other one used to be a drag queen. Not that I'm judging or anything like that. It's just the reason why I say they're eccentric is because, in society's terms, these are kind of people who are often put on the wayside, so, or like neglected or not listened to, which is very unfair. And I think that these people like that need to have their stories heard, and they're homeless. And I'm like, wow, the fact that he made a movie about such a topic, about people who aren't fortunate, like they've had an unfortunate life. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. Like I said, the characters just seem like chill people who ended up where they are because of life's circumstances. And so you understand why they take it upon themselves to save this baby from that same fate. Moving down the list to number 8 is The Book Thief. I'm a bit surprised that I put it at number 8. The Book Thief was, well, a book before it got adapted into a movie. And it's one of the movies on this list that does tackle heavier topics. World War II, the Holocaust, death, but also life. It's not all, it kind of is mostly doom and gloom. But it's not all bad, okay? There's like a sliver of hope. Just like they slide it in there. It's slid in there very subtly, but it's there. And it follows a young girl named Liesel Memminger. Memminger? Memminger? I think it's Memminger. Correct! But I'll try to put the correct pronunciation at some point in this video. Probably here, right now. Memminger. And we see her life during the war and witness as death keeps getting uncomfortably close to her. And when I say this, I genuinely mean death is getting close to her, like in proximity. The people around her keep dying without ever reaching her, but rather it becomes intrigued by her. And I mean that in the most metaphoric, but at the same time, literal way. It's getting dark outside, so I feel like I need to adjust the lighting a little bit. It works vice versa as well, because not only does she witness death, but death also witnesses life. It's like they start to understand each other a little bit more. It's so weird. There's a very specific aspect about this film that drew me in because it's so polarizing. This might be a spoiler. This blew my little brain, my like 11, 12 maybe year old brain blew it up. This might be a spoiler to some of you, so if you're not interested in a spoiler, even though it's not really a spoiler because the book and the movie have been out for many years at this point, skip to this part if you're not interested in spoilers. All right, here goes nothing. Are you gone? Have you skipped? The polarizing part about this to me is the fact that we find out at the beginning that death is the narrator. Isn't that wild? Isn't that kind of wild? Death as a narrator. I'm trying to think of like how many, and I'm sure maybe there's a few movies that have done this, but I'm trying to think of other movies that I know death has been characterized before as like a physical entity. He's a character, the Grim Reaper, basically, because this is where the inspiration basically comes from. But him being the one who tells the story was completely new to me, and it like blew my mind when I read it when I was a little girl. I don't know what business I had reading this as a little girl, but it honestly gave me, I'm glad that I did because it taught me a lot. Yeah, he's this fully realized entity and character in this film, and he's become a spectator of Liesel's life. He's sort of intrigued by her, and so he tells us her story. Liesel is not the one telling her story, death is telling Liesel's story. That's wild, right? When I first watched it, I was definitely about Liesel's age, which made me feel even more connected with her character. I usually only like characters that I relate to, but if I don't necessarily relate to them, I'll like them because they're either complex or I understand where they're coming from, sort of something like that. Even if they're not necessarily good people, or maybe they are, it doesn't really matter. It's characterization. But if I can understand where they're coming from and they're not completely terrible, then Yeah. But yeah, it was one of the first big books other than Twilight that I read. So it has like holds a special place in my heart. And I still revisit this movie every now and then, especially in the winter. It's cold there constantly. Like there's these landscapes filled with snow in the movie, which is why it made it to this list. At number 7, we have a very Jonas Christmas movie. Just purely good vibes put into a movie. I don't even remember how long it is, like an hour and 20 minutes? I don't know, but it's not that long, but it's a good time. If you've seen this movie, you know that it hasn't been out for that long. It's very new. I'm pretty much it came out like last month in November. And I kind of threw it on as a joke because I was like, it's the Jonas Brothers. It's the Jonas Brothers. I loved them as a kid, you know? LA, LA, baby, she's a. You know? Like Bobatsi. Sorry. I'm sorry. But there's also that one song. Into the lava. Na na na. Cause I'm going under. And wait, it's the same song, but he goes, high heels, red dress, red dress. Red dress. Like, yes. Thanks for raising me. I'm obviously just kidding. I'm obviously kidding. But they were a big part of my childhood. The Jonas Brothers were, you know, like Boba Tea. And my point is that I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. It was a good time. I got some good laughs out of it, some sentimental moments. It genuinely does have Christmas spirit. So if you're into like really lighthearted Christmas movies compared to the other one that I just told you to go watch, this one will be your cup of tea. It also has good songs and lots of cameos. If you're someone who loves cameos, this movie will also be right up your alley. Moving on to number 6. At number 6, we have If I Stay. We're back to the slight doom and gloom of winter with this one. This one is one of those movies that doesn't entirely take place in winter. Well, the most important part of this movie, or the most important scene, the inciting incident. Why do I feel so big brained for that one? Anyway, whatever. The inciting incident does happen. It does take place on a winter morning. It was a very snowy day, a very snowy scene. Like, I always think of that one scene that's like, it's etched into my brain. I always think of this scene with the camera kind of going around Chloe Grace Moretz, circling her as she panics. It's a very sad scene, by the way. I won't tell you what happened, but it's kind of a sad scene. I don't even know why I don't know why I'm laughing. It's pretty sad. You either already know what happens or you've never heard of this movie at all. You've never heard of it. It's one of those movies that came out in 2014, 2015, when we were all somehow obsessed with teen movies that were also kind of like tragedies or dystopian. For whatever reason, we were obsessed with those, and it's like, I don't know what happened, honestly. Like, we need to do a study on that period of time, because we had freaking If I Stay obviously was one of them. We had what's that one? A Fault in Our Stars destroyed me. What business did I have watching that when I was 10? They basically just wrote these movies. These authors wrote these books, made all the girls and gays cry, and then and then Hollywood was like, all right. So this is what they want. This is what they want to eat up. And I'm like, I don't know if that's really what it was. So they were like, let's give it to them. Let's make the girlies and the gays cry some more, but in HD. So we were like, yeah, here's our money. I think last time I enjoyed a movie that followed this kind of plot was definitely Everything, but that's more of a summer movie. It's very summery. I love that movie with Amanda Steinberg or Stenberg. I think it's Amanda Stenberg. Why did I say Steinberg? Girl, that movie I love, but it's a very summery movie, which is why it didn't make it on this list. And if you are a big reader, if you've seen or if you've read this book, oh, it's kind of perfect that it's right here. This book, the Midnight Library, the Midnight The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is a great book. Author of How to Stop Time. Haven't really read that book, but now I'm kind of like, maybe I should, because like I have this one and I liked it, so I should probably read the next book. If you've read How to Stop Time, please tell me in the comments if it's a good book. Anyway, if you've read this book, you will more than likely enjoy If I Stay, because it has sort of similar plot foundation. Let me at least roughly tell you what this movie is about. Can you tell I'm slowly getting even more unhinged as this what is wrong with me? Can you tell? As this video progressively gets longer, goes on. Anyway. Basically what happens in the movie is that this very talented girl named Mia Hall, talented at the cello, I believe, she and her family end up in this sort of life or death situation. And through it all, as things just don't seem to be going well or getting any better, they kind of progressively get worse and worse. She has to decide whether to stay or not, which is why the movie is called If I Stay. And it goes through like her life experiences, her experience with her family. She meets this guy and it goes through, that plot. I don't know why I said it like that, but I don't know, because I kind of I love this movie. I don't know why, but I eat it up. At number 5 is Before I Fall, and I'm gonna make it easy. Before I Fall is I would say it's a little similar to If I Stay, but only a little. The similarities basically end at the main characters both being teenagers and in a sort of life or death situation, which we really loved to do in the 2010s. What was wrong with us? Plus the doom and gloom of it all. Am I okay? It seems like I'm obsessed with making myself cry in the winter. Oh well. I love a good cry. I do. I love a good cry. I love a good sad cry. Before I Fall is also like a time loop thing. If you can't tell what kind of movies I like to watch at this time of year, if you are not into time loop movies, I don't think this is your type of movie, but it's mine. So here we are. Like, give me more. I'm also noticing that these movies have like a cold atmosphere to them. For instance, Tokyo Godfathers, a very Jonas Christmas, and Little Forest, with the exception of the winter months, the winter portion of the movie, they feel warm. However, movies like If I Stay, Before I Fall, On the Beach at Night Alone, which is also a movie that I have on this list, those movies feel cold. Like they have a slight chill to them. Am I even making any sense? I hope I'm making sense. To me, this makes a lot of sense. It's such an odd thing to try to conceptualize. Oh, like most of you have seen Twilight. You know what Twilight is. You know how in Twilight it always feels rainy? The first one specifically. It has this like rainy vibe to it, like this kind of turquoise or color to it, and it's constantly rainy. You want to watch it when it's raining outside. That's the same thing with this concept, only it's winter and it's snow instead of rain. All right, we're moving even lower down the list. Finally, we're making progress. Oh my god, I feel like I've been talking forever. How do public speakers do this? And this is what I studied in college. Like, I was a mass media major, and we talked all the time, and I hated it a lot. I'm introverted. I'm kind of timid too, except for when I'm talking about things that I like, and I have to know what I want to say, otherwise I'm zoned out half the time. But anyway, at number 4 on the watch list is On the Beach at Night Alone, which I mentioned because it feels cold. It's one of those movies that feel cold. The phrase that I think best describes this film is quiet contemplation, introspection. It's like one big meditation and emotional release. That's what I felt when I watched this movie. I felt like a huge emotional release. Like I had this big lump on my chest, and after I watched it, I felt like it was okay. I felt like I could be flawed. I felt like I could be, I don't know, I could be myself. I felt like I didn't need to judge myself, that kind of thing. Like almost like we all make mistakes, it's okay, that kind of vibe. And I know that may sound boring on the surface, like, oh, why would I watch a movie just to like introspect? Why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you? Other than that, I think that the reason why you stay and you're interested in this movie is the main character. The actress who plays the main character really, really sells it. She makes you care about her. She makes you wonder what kind of person she is. And not only are we watching her reflect, but she poses these questions that make you ask questions about your life as well. And I know this sounds way too philosophical a little bit, but it's really not like that. It's just like quiet moments where she's talking to people and then you kind of catch the things that she says. There's this one famous line, it kind of pops off on Pinterest. I'm gonna put it here. But she says something along the lines of, I just want to live in a way that suits me, to be strong and to, I don't know, handle things in a way that I think is but something along those lines. I'm gonna put it over here, but I thought that was such a great life lesson, especially for me. I'm in my 20s, I'm in my early 20s, and things can get very confusing very quickly. Honestly, things were confusing when I was 18, and they are still very confusing, but I'm starting to kind of feel like I'm in a rhythm of understanding myself and how I work and the things that I hold value to, and peace and living in a way that suits me, despite what others expect of me, is what I want. So this movie really resonates with me on that basis. But you get the impression that she doesn't want to talk about her life. She only wants to talk about it to a select few, and in those moments where she does talk about it, we kind of get a glimpse of her mindset and where her head is at, which is where she says this famous line of, I just want to live in a way that suits me. The main character is Young-hee, and she is played by Kim Min-hee, who was also a main character in The Handmaiden. Talked about The Handmaiden at the beginning of the video. Young-hee is an actress in the movie. She runs away from home to Hamburg after an affair she has with the director that directs her movies that she plays in gets publicized. And that's where her inner turmoil begins, because he's married, he has a family already, it's a mess, so she runs away. I think that this has become an important and maybe even underrated film for me, because, and not in the sense that its ratings are low or anything, or it's probably appropriately rated actually, but more of the fact that I just don't really see that many people talk about it except for a very select few. I tend to enjoy films like this because I love the way that this movie is filmed in a way that's kind of true to life. Like, it looks like someone just picked up a camera with someone living abroad. It's simple, minimal, and I also love how everyone in this movie is bundled up in warm clothes. It's to protect themselves from the cold, obviously. I think that this decision wasn't a happy accident, but one that was made intentionally, since it sort of emphasizes how isolated the main character is. Like, she wants to escape, but she can't escape the harsh cold of reality, so she just covers up and bundles up instead. At least that's what I take out of it. It might not even be that serious, but it does give you that impression. Like, that thought crossed my mind as I watched the film. So this marks our top 3 countdown. Yay! Oh, top 3. Let me tell you about top 3, okay? Top 3 is that girl. Top 3 are the girls. They're the girls. These are for the girls. It's a whole lot less moody. These are the films that I watch every year around this time, or honestly year round, without fail. They're whimsy and magical and animated. I love animated movies. But yeah, these movies have like a magical charm. They're filled with laughter and crying and very girly, basically. And it also just feels hopeful. I love movies like this. At number 3, we have Anastasia. Anastasia is a classic. Most of us know this movie by now, but just in case you're unfamiliar with Miss Anastasia, Anastasia is very, and I mean very, loosely based on the real life story of Anastasia Romanova. But yeah, it's based on her and her family, and you know, the tragedy of it all. Yeah. As I mentioned, it's not in any way accurate to to real life, honestly, very loosely. But in this version of the story, Anastasia becomes an orphan, or so she thinks she is, because an evil wizard, Rasputin, this guy, attempts to overthrow her entire family. But all of them, and he almost succeeds at this plan. However, Anastasia and her grandmother manage to slip away with the help of like a little boy. Am I spoiling? The movie's been out forever, but then they get separated during their escape, and they still have a chance to reunite because Anastasia's grandmother never stops looking for her. The problem is, though, that Anastasia has lost her memory. She doesn't remember anything. She doesn't remember where she's from. All she has is a little token necklace that her grandmother gave her as a clue for where she was from. And this movie is basically that journey of her making her way home, essentially finding who she is, who she was, her past, all of that. This is an absolutely beautiful movie. It's stunning. 2D animation is stunning. Okay, you watch this and you're in awe. You're like, how did people make this? How did people make this? And they did. Sometimes people, I'm just like, y'all are talented. Y'all are like, okay. If you're an artist, if you draw and paint, you deserve your here are your flowers. This movie makes me miss 2D animation, stop motion. It just makes me appreciate all of that all over again every time I watch it. I know that this style of animation and drawing is very timely and costly, and the advances were somewhat necessary, but at the same time, I feel like maybe we sacrificed a little bit of the magic for efficiency. That might just be me, but I genuinely do think that something was lost in the process of making advancements, and that happens, but you have to be careful when you're doing those types of things. Anyway, what am I on about? The music in this movie, in Anastasia, is phenomenal. Once Upon a December, that is my jam. Once Upon a December is my jam. Journey to the Past, oh my goodness. So good. So good. Mwah. Anyway, at number 2, I placed Barbie in a Christmas Carol. The Barbie Diaries was the first video I uploaded on this channel. I love Barbie movies. They're really great. I don't know. They're good. And this one is no exception. Okay, the thing with Barbie in a Christmas Carol that just makes it so good is that the storybook lovers got all these mostly somewhat accurate remakes of A Christmas Carol. The rom-com lovers got Ghost of Girlfriend's Past with Matthew McConaughey. That is a crazy pool. If you've seen that movie, shout out to you if you've seen that movie. Because like, what was that movie? It was kind of silly. It was kind of ridiculous. Anyway. And we girly pops, we got Barbie in A Christmas Carol, okay? We got Eden Sterling, we got Catherine, and we got these divas, these ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future divas. But anyway, this is quite literally a retelling of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. It's a very, very popular book, very, very popular storybook. But yeah, they made a Barbie movie out of that story, which isn't out of character for the Barbie movies, because that's essentially like what they do. It's Barbie playing certain characters that already exist most of the time. And she's supposed to be a Scrooge. She even says the line, "Bah, humbug." And you know what? They nailed it with this one. I personally believe that they nailed it. I feel like I tend to underplay the Barbie movies as just like movies I liked as a kid that were made for kids, and now I've grown up and I happen to like them because I liked them as a kid. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I watch this movie like I'm watching it for the first time all the time. They just hold up in a very interesting way. Even though the animation ages, even though everything else ages, the movies themselves, they made good movies. And I feel like that is an objective fact. If I'm not correct, then you're lying. If you're saying I'm not correct, then you're lying, because they are good movies. they basically understood where and when the changes in the movie needed to be made without actually changing the story and the lesson that you get out of this movie, out of this story specifically. Personal favorite retelling of this story. And I really love how it's centered around Eden and Catherine's relationship and their friendship. Eden is a diva from the start. She's ruthless. They don't try to underplay how kind of evil she is because it's a kids movie or because it's supposed to be a kids movie, quote unquote. She grows throughout the movie, you know the story. She develops, which makes it even more, it makes it stand out, it makes it worth it, it makes it so much more impactful. And the way they keep the trend of Barbie being the one to tell Kelsey the story is a really nice callback to the earlier Barbie movies that also did this. Plus, it's kind of funny and mostly lighthearted and impactful at the same time. It's got everything wrapped up in a nice little bow. Plus, it's girly pop, so yeah, we win again. If you like Barbie movies or girly films, then this one is for you. Finally, at number 1, my favorite from this entire watch list. It's now nighttime. Oh my god, the sun went down. As I was saying, my favorite from this entire watch list, it's Tinkerbell. Specifically, The Secret of the Wings. The lore in this one is it's too good. I've always been an avid lover of the Disney Fairies franchise. And the fact that there's a winter Tinkerbell film ticks all the boxes for me. Like, I don't know what I would have done if they never made this movie. Like, I'm just thinking about what would life be like if The Secret of the Wings never existed? We'll never know. And honestly, we're better for it. I was definitely a bit older when it came out. I wasn't as teeny weeny. I was maybe 9, 10. I genuinely can't remember. I was older though. I remember I could appreciate it more, and I remember really liking China Anne McClain. I think I was 4, maybe I was 12. I loved China Anne McClain and I liked her a lot. So hearing her voice in this movie was really a pleasant surprise. Like, it gave me chills. And I'm talking about on the rewatch of this movie, it gave me chills. Oh my god. It gave me chills because I just looked at how long I've been filming.
Oh my god!
I forgot that she was on the soundtrack of this movie, despite how many times I've watched it. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, though, The Secret of the Wings is one of many movies in the Disney Fairies franchise. And they usually in the Disney Fairies is basically Tinkerbell, Tinkerbell from Peter Pan, her friends, and their adventures in Pixie Hollow. They usually have a new story for every film, but then they follow the same characters who are Tinkerbell and her friends, aka the Disney Fairies, and their fairy lives in Pixie Hollow. And there's seasons and the fairies' powers. They all have unique powers related to those seasons. Some of them, it's more physical work that they do. Like Tinkerbell is a Tinker Fairy, so she's not really tied to a season. But basically in this movie, we're finally introduced to the Winter Woods and the conceptual but also literal divide between the Winter Fairies and the Warm Season Fairies. It's forbidden to cross. It's forbidden to cross between the two seasons or the two territories, even though they're all collectively Pixie Hollow. Before this movie, the most we see of the Winter Fairies is during montages, but now we get to know them via Tink. Nothing gets past her curiosity. So she briefly crosses the borders as she's helping Fawn cross the animals over to winter as the seasons change, And during the time that she crosses, something unexpected happens. Her wings, they start to shimmer and they start to shine, start to glow a little bit. She's giving a little dewy, sorry. She's oh my god, my wings, they're glowing. Yeah, basically that's not normal. It's rather unusual. More it's unusual for the wings to be glowing like that. And even her friends don't believe her. They're like, Tink, you're full of it. Shut up. That's not real. That didn't happen. But no, but it did. As for the rest, well, you either know what happens or you will have to watch the movie to find out. You have to see it for yourself, okay? If you're not into this type of thing, I dare you. I dare you to go watch Tinkerbell and the Secret of the Fairies right now. You will love it. You'll love it. I promise you. You can just like throw this movie on and know that you're gonna have a good time. Of course, it's not like anything deep. It's really not that deep. Well, like, I don't know. I guess that's kind of more like the level. The level of depth is like intermediate. So if that gives you a good idea of like how much emotional depth. But it does have those emotional beats, the lore, the romance, it's all there. It's magical, it's whimsical. If you're a shipper, you will love this movie because in all the other movies, none of the shipping really happens. It's almost like implied a little bit, but in this one they nudge at it a little more. They're giving you a little that meme, that guy going. Anyway, if you're a shipper, you're gonna eat this up because I was eating it up. Eat it up, eat it up. Sorry. Like I said, I love a good cry in the winter, and The Secret of the Wings really is, and it doesn't sacrifice any of the emotional weight for that whimsy. They find a way to blend the two together. And not to dampen the mood or anything after I just talked about how great The Secret of the Wings is and the fact that you need to watch it, it just makes me sad that Disney lost that whimsy aspect of their movies because they basically replaced it for something that's entirely unfeeling, which is AI. Like, I would really love it if they had a comeback. And of course, there's a lot of things that they've done that are past the point of, I think, redemption. But it would be so nice if something happened. It would be so nice to see them get back on the expressive 2D animation that everyone loves. Everyone loves 2D animation. An honorable mention for all of the old Disney movies, 101 Dalmatians, Lady and the Tramp, and so on. The winter scenes in those movies are so pristine. They're so beautiful. The art that was made is still very much worth recognizing. I can't help but say that they made something here. They cooked with this one. This is stunning, and this leaves an impression on me. The stuff that they do now, that doesn't leave an impression on me. But anyway, I digress. That is all for the entirety of my winter watch list this year. I've been filming for way longer than I would have wanted. Hopefully I can find a way to cut this all down to 30 minutes. Please. Oh my god. But I'm talking to you, Pauline, editing Pauline. I hope you had a good time hanging out with me today, being a little silly, a little goofy. I really, I don't want to put all the pressure on myself to make videos. I want it to feel like I'm just chatting with my friends. I want it to feel like I'm having a conversation about things that I love and things that maybe you love, as if we were friends. I hope you had fun hanging out with me, is all. And I hope that I reminded you of some oldies that you might want to revisit, or maybe I introduced you to some new movies that you want to check out. There's so many good movies out there that can teach you things, that can make you feel all kinds of emotions, that can teach you how to reflect. That just great movies out there that are just waiting for you to watch. Keep an eye out for those types of movies and maybe add some of the ones that I just told you to watch on your winter watch list. If not, just sharing with you has honestly been a blast. It's been a pleasure. And if you like this type of video and want to keep seeing more, please like and subscribe. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. I love you so much. And until next time, bye.